Hello friends, this is Dr. Shashi Agarwal. I welcome you all for the channel Shashi Agarwal. Today our subject is microeconomics or business economics, and today we are going to cover the topic wages. The chapter wages we are going to cover in two parts. In first part we will understand what is the concept of wages, what is the meaning of wages, what is the meaning of nominal wages, real wages, what are the factors which influence the real wages, and then we are going to do a very significant topic, that is the marginal productivity theory of wages. Its Hindi lecture is also available at my second channel, that is the Shashi Agarwal Economics and Law classes. First of all, we will understand what is the meaning of wages. As we all know, there are four factors of production: land, labor, capital and entrepreneur. Land gets rent, labor gets wages, capital gets interest, and the entrepreneur gets the profit. So the price which is paid for the use of labor services is called wages. And in economics, when we talk about the labor, it includes all the physical and the mental activities which are done to earn the income. The term wages has wide meaning. It may include different types of payment which is made to all types of labor. They may be doing the physical work, or they may be doing the mental work. Wages could be paid per hour, weekly, wages could be paid monthly. Even the fees which is paid to the doctor, architect, lawyer, that is also included under the term wages. Wages paid on the basis of time is known as the time wages, like we are making the payment to the labor on the basis of time. Hourly wages, then it is called time wages. Like the monthly wages, they are also time wages. But when we are making the payment of wages or salary on the basis of unit, like if you manufacture 1 unit, then you will get how many units you have manufactured, you are going to get the wages and salaries according to the pieces you have made. Like a carpenter, if he made 5 chairs, then he will get the payment of on the basis of 5 chairs. The other carpenter has made 7 chairs, then he will get the payment of 7 chairs. So this is called piece wages. Professor Benham has defined wages. A wage may be defined as a sum of money paid under contract by an employer to worker for the services rendered. The wages which are paid to the worker for using his services. Wage rate are the prices which are paid for the use of labor. Nominal or money wages which are paid to the worker in terms of money. Money wages refer to the actual money earned by the worker. Like a worker is working in the shop and the shopkeeper pays him 7,000 per month, then it is a nominal wage. And what is real wage? Real wage refer to the quantity of goods and services which a labor gets in return for the wages for his money wages. That is the purchasing power of those money wages. Like a laborer, he gets 7,000 per month. So what is the purchasing power of 7,000 is the real wages of that person. Real wages are the purchasing power or the purchasing power of the money wages. How much quantity of goods and services which we could buy with the help of money wages. Real wages can be estimated by adjusting the money wages for the index of the price. If other things remaining the same, there is a positive relation between the money wages and the real wages. But if the price level is high, then the real wages will be low. If the price level is low, then the real wages will be more. Real wages can be estimated by adjusting the money wages for the index of prices. W is the real wages and WM is the money wages, which is divided by the price level into 100. So what are the factors which influence the real wages? Other things remaining the same, if money wages are more, definitely real wages will also be more. Real wage is also influenced by the purchasing power of the money. If the price level is high, then we could buy lesser, so the real wages will be less. If the price level is low, then the real wages will be more. If we are along with a fixed salary or wages, we are also getting the supplementary income in the form of bonus, free accommodation, subsidized foods, free education to our children, medical facilities, then it will be more. And it also depends upon the nature of the employment. It is a regular employment, here we get the salary or wages on the regular basis, so real wages will be more rather as compared to the person who is in the casual employment. Like if a person is working 5 hours and he gets wages to the tune of 350, and on the other hand another worker who's doing work for 8 hours but he gets 350, then the person who's working 5 hours but getting 350, then his real wages will be more. If he gets the same amount of money wages as other laborer, then his real income will be more. By working less hours, he's getting the similar amount, then his real wages will be more. Working condition. If the working conditions are very good, like the clean and healthy environment is there, then the real wages will be more than the worker who's working in the dirty and unhealthy environment. Like there are some profession in which they have to spend a lot of money on their occupation. Like there is a doctor, there is a banker. Doctor has to spend more income on buying the books, buying the software, which is by attending more workshops to update his knowledge, and as compared to the banker, his real wages will be less. Like the profession of the doctors, engineers, advocates, they have to spend a lots of money on the training. So while calculating the real wages, the expenses which they have incurred on their training and getting the education, that has to be deducted from the money wages. And then sometimes we are hired at a very low cost, but there is a possibility of future promotion, so the real wages will be more in the future. And if the organization like the Air Force, like the banking organization, if they give preference to the employment to the dependent and wards, then the real value will be more. In some like a person is working as a head clerk and the other person is working as a sub inspector, the salary is same, but the status of sub inspector will be more. Now as we have understood what is the meaning of wages and what are the concepts of the wages, now we will focus on a very important topic, that is a marginal productivity theory of wages. Its Hindi lecture is also available at my second channel, that is Shashi Agarwal Economics and Law Classes. If how we are going to write the answer in the examination, first of all we will be defining the wages, then we will be writing the meaning and definition of marginal theory of wages, assumptions, analysis of the theory from the point of view of an industry, analysis of the theory from the point of view of the firm, then we will be writing the criticism very brief. So what is the meaning of marginal productivity theory of wages? It is examined by the German economist von Thunen in 1833 in his book The Isolated State. It was further developed by Wicksteed, Walras and J.B. Clark. Marginal productivity means addition made to the total revenue by employing one more unit of labor. Like one labor is producing total revenue to the tune of 10 rupees. When we hire other additional labor, then the total revenue goes to 18. So the marginal productivity is equal to 18 minus 10, which is equal to 8. Under perfect competition, in the long run, a laborer gets wages equal to his marginal and average productivity. Marginal productivity refers to the addition made to the total revenue by employing one more unit of labor. change in total revenue by putting one more labor, keeping all the other factors constant, then it is called the marginal productivity. And in the long run, the laborer is going to get the wages which is equal to his marginal and average productivity, because in the perfect competition, marginal and average productivity is equal. Professor Bloch has defined the marginal productivity theory. Contends that in equilibrium, each laborer will be rewarded in accordance with its marginal productivity. Under the marginal productivity theory of wages, we have to understand this thing. A laborer will be given wages according to his marginal productivity. As a result of competition between the employers for labor and between workers for employment, a wage rate is determined which is equal to the marginal productivity of the labor force the employer as a whole are willing to employ. So the crux of this theory is that the worker is going to get the wages according to his marginal productivity. So what are the assumptions? There is a perfect competition in the product market. We are going to get the same price for similar products, and even in the factor market there is a perfect competition, and the factor price is determined by the industry on the basis of demand and supply, and it is also subject to the law of diminishing return. As we are hiring more and more units of labor, productivity goes on decreasing. All the laborers, they are of same quality, they are homogeneous, and there is a full employment. And this theory applies in the long run. And the techniques of production, they are fixed and constant. Each unit of the labor is perfectly mobile. It means like I am working in A profession, if I move to B profession, I will get the same wage. Now we are going to analyze the marginal productivity theory from the point of view of an industry. Under perfect competition, wage rate is determined by the industry where demand is equal to supply. The firm has to take the decision at the price which is determined by the industry how much labor they are going to hire. Marginal productivity theory is based on the assumption of full employment, so the supply of labor is fixed. Wage rate will be determined more by the demand as the supply is fixed. Demand curve of industry can be drawn with the help of demand curve of all the firms operating in the industry, but it is not possible to get the literal summation as the number of the industry may not be constant in the long run. So demand curve of the industry will correspond to the demand curve of the firm. It will be sloping downward. And under perfect competition, marginal wage and average wage will be equal. And from the point of view of an industry, we could express it diagrammatically. Under the perfect competition, marginal wage is equal to average wage. Here under the industry, like this is, here we take the labor, here we take the marginal revenue, productivity and wages. Supply of the labor is fixed, so the wage rate is determined by the demand. So this is the wage rate. If there is more demand, more wages. If there is a less demand, there will be less wage rate. Now we are going to analyze it from the point of view of the firm. As the wage rate is determined by the industry, firm has to take the decision how many laborer it should employ at the wage rate which is determined by the industry. Firm will be in equilibrium where MRP is equal to MW, and MRP curve get MW curve from the above, like in this manner. So this is the average wage which is equal to marginal wage. So this is the MRP, and this is the point of equilibrium because it is cutting from the above. At the point of equilibrium, if the average revenue productivity is more than the wage rate, then the firm will get the supernormal profit, and if it is equal to the average wage, then the firm will get the normal profit. If ARP is less than average wages, then the firm will incur the loss. It means it is making the payment of wages more rather the revenue which it is getting from hiring that employee. Long period. Under perfect competition, the long run, no firm can either have supernormal profit or incur losses, it will have normal profit. So the firm will be in equilibrium where it is equal to average wages, which is equal to marginal wages, which is equal to average revenue productivity, which is equal to the marginal revenue productivity. And here this is the basically wage rate which is determined by the industry. So this is the MRP. So this is the point of equilibrium, and here all the conditions they are fulfilled, like ARP is equal to MRP, which is equal to AW, which is equal to MW. At this point MRP is also equal to the marginal wages, but as we see, as we hire more labor, we could earn more. So here the condition of equilibrium is fulfilled, like the MRP curve is cutting from the above. This theory is based on unrealistic assumption of perfect competition, which is not possible. It is only one-sided. It focuses more on demand and says supply is fixed, and it also based on unrealistic assumption of full employment, which is not possible. It's very difficult to measure the marginal productivity, and sometimes it says when there are higher wages, it will employ less people. When there will be low wages, it will employ more people. But while taking the decision to employ many people, it consider other factors also, amount of profit, production within the limits. So it does not give total weightage to the wages. And it is also not possible because sometimes like we are using the labor, if we are having one sewing machine, then we only require one tailor, and there is no need to have other tailor, because if we hire other tailor, there is no use because we are using only one machine. And it also assumes certain condition to be fixed, which is not possible. It also ignores the influence of machines, entrepreneurs, working conditions on the marginal productivity. And thanks for watching Shashi Agarwal and Shashi Agarwal Economics and Law classes.